Greetings. This is Arvette McLean of Speak, The Universe Listens. As a very young person, I always felt that I carried the weight of the world on my shoulders, having to make grown-up decisions in order to survive a life marked with physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. While my face was smiling on the outside, on the inside, I always secretly cried and felt miserable. However, over the years, I learned some gems that helped to turn my life around. I now get to live the life of my dreams, filled with love, travel, and wonderment. And I am absolutely passionate about sharing what I have learned with you. If you want to live your best life, tune in each week as I, along with some amazing guests, share these life-changing gems with you. Inspired to be more, do more, have more. Greetings and welcome to today's show. Today's topic is a new outlook on life. And today we have with us a guest, Stephen Friend. And Stephen is actually found him on Facebook because he has a wonderful page called Words of Wisdom. He has a Facebook as well as an Instagram account, Words of Wisdom, so check that one out. However, Steve is an upcoming motivational speaker and he's an entrepreneur. He actually has his own business called Friend Handyman Service. And today you're going to share with us some great things about having a new outlook on life. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Happy to be here. So just my main goal really is to pretty much motivate people and to get them to think differently. So when I say think differently, people like know what you mean. You know? So pretty much your outlook on life, how you see things, how you perceive things. So a lot of us have this perception as to where it's a right and wrong. And in actuality, there's no such thing as a right or wrong, because what one person sees as right, they're right. And what one person sees as wrong, they're still right. You know, and vice versa. So understanding that, that everybody is right in their own perception of things. When we start to think like that and realize that, then we can take that wall, that blockage that's blocking us to sit back and manifest the things that we want in our life. Because a lot of the time, we only see one way of things. And so by us having that perception in life, when you sit back and get out your comfort zone and open your mind up to new things, then you'll be able to start to manifest new things in your life and the things that you want in your life.
Right.
So I'm just trying to get people to understand that you can change your life. You can get everything that you want, but first it starts with you.
Okay. So actually, I want you to kind of explain a little bit more when you say both are right. So you said that you could think someone else is wrong, but they're right.
Right. So for instance, growing up, everybody when they grew up as a child, their parents gave them everything that they needed. So parents gave you your thought process of knowing what was right and what was wrong. So with that, they got that from their parents. And so it just pretty much goes down the line. So eventually it gets to a point as to where if you're really trying to take your life to the next level, you're going to run across people that's going to have the opposite viewpoint as you. But the thing is, if you sit back and if we were to get out of that box of just thinking one way and understand that each person is right in their own perception, then that way that will allow us to be able to take those baby steps to thinking differently and experiencing new experiences in life. So that's something that I really would love to see people to just understand.
Yeah, I always like talking about that, because a lot of times when you first become aware that two people could have totally different thoughts and they both are right is usually when you start living with someone for the first time. And then you start to see, wait a minute, you're looking at what they're doing, you're like, that's not how you do
Exactly, exactly.
And then you eventually realize, okay, well, that's how they do it, and this is how I do it, and they're both right. And so I think, at least for me, that was one of the places where I first realized that people can have wildly different viewpoints, and yet and still they both are right.
Yeah, and still they're both right. And so when we do that, it's almost like you're learning from each other. You know, what you always seen as your way of being right, the next individual, whatever their right or wrong is, you take away from each other.
Right.
And so that's one step in learning, progressing.
Right. So I always say, first the question is this the right way? And then the next is this the only right way? And so when you're talking about being open to other right ways, and that helps you to expand, because like, you know, as you were saying, how we get handed everything. Our whole belief system is handed to us. We take that on, we wear it like this is the only right way. But like you say, there are other right ways, and then just being willing to stick your foot into something different.
Right. And I think when we do, that just opens up the gateway to new things in our life. And a lot of the times we're so complacent in where we are. And we're complacent because we're so scared to get out of our comfort zone and to take that risk in life, to do something new, to experience new things, because it's scary because you never experienced it before, you know. And so a lot of the time we really don't want to experience nothing that we really don't know nothing about. And so with what I was saying earlier, with a thought process, when that changes up and you're open and receptive to something new, you will have no issue with trying something new. And then it's gonna unfold into something awesome in your life. You know? A lot of the time we want certain things in our life, and we want those things to manifest in our life. But what is it that we're doing on our end to get to those things? So my goal is to basically try to get people to see that anything that you want in your life, you can manifest it. But first, taking the baby steps as to where, okay, think differently, and then after you think differently, then you want to go into step 2, applying the action. And then when you apply the action with the thought, then your third goal is now you have to maintain it. And when you get there, it's like, okay, now I got everything I want. You know, now what's the next step? So you know, what else is there for me to do? So really want to see people succeed and be better, live their best life that they possibly can, but knowing that it's possible.
Right. Yeah, so I know, like you were saying about taking the next step. So a lot of times we can only see this part of the puzzle, and so we don't venture beyond that. But if you take that first step, then you start having a wider vision, a wider view of what's possible. So you take the next step, and then you'll see more. So it's like a lot of times we want the road to be laid out in front of us. And so because, like you say, we don't know, it's fear of the unknown. And so, but some kind of way we have to find, I guess, the courage to take that first step, and then you'll see a little bit more of the path. And I remember hearing a story, and I think it's a Bible story, and it's a story about, and I'm totally going to mess up the story, right? But it was a story about people going into this new land, this territory, and it was just pitch black, and the only thing they had was lights on their shoes. So they literally could only see the next step that they were taking. And I was just thinking, like, how that is so true of life. Like, a lot of times, the only thing we can see is the next step, and we just have to have faith that there's a next one to be taken.
And that's very true when you said about faith. we really don't believe in ourselves, and that's a big part of it. You know, we really don't have that understanding of knowing that you're responsible for your life. Everything that you want is up to you. So if we're not where we want to be, we can get there. It's just, what are you going to do about it? So, and that's my message. A lot of the time when I talk on words of wisdom, just to get people to see things differently and try to take the necessary baby steps in your life to do different things and getting out of your comfort zone. A lot of the time, a lot of what I talk about is just based off experiences in my own life that I had to learn. You know, I'm far from perfect. You know, I'm far from perfect, but where I am now in my life is just because of experiences that I've been through, learning along the way, running across some great people, people that inspire me. You know, and now it's basically getting that back. So if we can sit back and have faith in ourselves and believe, and with believing, actually just visualize it in your head. Like, hey, you know, if you see yourself in this nice big mansion and you're financially stable, and that's what your goal is, visualize it, feel it, just know that you're in that moment, and claim it. And then when you claim it, long as you're doing the steps, you think it, you put in the work, and then you maintain it, everything will fall in place.
Yes, yes. So a lot of times I'm going right back to where you started with the moving outside of your comfort zone, thinking differently. Like, a lot of times it's so much easier to be with people that are like you.
Right.
And sometimes we just have to step outside of that.
Right.
Yeah. And I know with me, I've totally, throughout my life, I had been a non-physical person in terms of, like, I would be the last one in high school to be picked for a team, you know, like a sports game. I would be the last one. No one wants me because I just was uncoordinated and that type of thing. So I've never been that person. And then at some point, I just decided to try some stuff. And then I actually joined this team where they do like crazy, you know, stuff. And it's really like boot camps, outdoor boot camp stuff. And the stuff we do is, it's a little crazy. And so I just know, like, when I first started it, it was like a lot of the things I would be like, I'm not going to try that.
I'm not with
it. And then I would watch and I would see everyone else would do it, and they did it with success. And so that kind of gave me a little confidence. So if they can do it, maybe I can. And so, like, having experiences like that, it kind of helps you boost your confidence. And so now, you know, like, I do all kinds of stuff that other people would think is crazy, but to me it's like, oh, that's fun and exhilarating. but it kind of starts like that, like just stepping outside of what you're comfortable with, what you're used to, and you don't have to just dive in feet first, but just, you know, kind of think of your feet. Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
that's all that it is. And when we get to that step as to where it's like, okay, a lot of the times we get nervous and we second guess ourselves. You know, that first intuition that you get, you know, that first instinct, but just go with it. You know, it's scary, of course. It's scary. I was very scared. When I started my business, I was very scared to leave my job, because I was at my job for like 10 years, and to leave that comfort zone, that safety net, you know, to leave that safety net and just to jump out there, it was really scary. But I would regret it if I didn't do it, you know. But now that I look back on it, it's like, wow, I did it.
Yeah.
You know.
So what gave you the courage to do that?
To be honest with you, it was just more of, I always wanted to have my own. That was something that, you know, my dad, he owns his own business, and seeing that, I was like, okay, yeah, I want my own. You know? And also being with a company and just working in that company, and I started to learn a lot of management on how to run a business. And so I said to myself, like, I can do this. Let me do it for myself. And I put in my 2 weeks at my job, and I already had things set up. And so I just said, you know what, we're gonna go for it. And I did, and when I did, I felt really good about myself. And a lot of the time, I could see where people say they'll get nervous, they're scared. Well, what about this? And they put out so much emphasis on the if. Let go of the if and just do it. And like going back to what we were talking about, having that faith in yourself, believe in yourself, know that you got it, even when you don't have it physically. Just have the understanding of just knowing, and then when you think like that, it really drives you into pushing yourself in that direction where you want to go.
Right. So I think that's a part too of what visualization does. Right. So when you visualize something and you're imagining it and you're feeling it, you're like really putting it on. It makes it feel real. Right. And so that takes away a lot of the fear. So I actually went to a Tony Robbins conference years ago where we had to walk across the hot coals barefooted. And what we did, I can't even remember how hot the coals are. I think they were like 212 degrees or something like that, but they're like red hot coals. And I'm about to put my foot on those coals. And so it was like a weekend. It was a long weekend. And I'm going to say at least every hour, we had to revisualize ourselves walking across the coals. And so we would he would have us put ourselves in like our power state or whatever. Right. And then we would, in our minds, just see ourselves walking across the coals. And then we would get to the other end. Then we would just jump up and scream and give each other high five and stuff. And so we would physically act it out. So we would mentally see ourselves walking across the coals, but at the end we would physically like jump like, yeah, we did that. And so it was like just in a weekend, a long weekend, we programmed our minds to be able to walk across the coals. So the first part of that is that I had the courage to actually put my foot on the coal, but then the other part is that, and then you don't get burned. Right. And so just the power of the imagination and the visualization and how it can wipe or at least knock the fear down. Right. Yeah.
Because we all have fear, and that's something that I think that's one of our biggest challenges is just the fear, overcoming it. And that's why I said it's very important that we sit back and at least make baby steps. Take one day at a time. Because eventually, when you start to do, then it's like you start to slowly progress to the next step, to the next step, and then eventually that fear starts to die down a little bit. So I can say I remember I had a older gentleman, and he was a customer of mine, and he taught me a lot. just by talking to him, he taught me a lot, and he was explaining to me about the past and moving forward. And what he told me was, visualize yourself in a car. And when you're in a car, just think about your destination that you're driving. And you're on this road, and this road that you're on, when you're driving, of course, you're focused on your destination. So you're looking ahead. Right? But when you're looking in your rearview mirror and you're looking behind you, you can't see what's in front of you. And then you swerve off course. And it goes with life, with moving forward, making progress. We have to sit back and understand that what's behind us is behind us, and what's in front of us, we have to keep on pushing baby steps.
So today you have actually touched on so many different topics that could actually, each one of these things could be its own podcast, its own, I guess you know this because you're a motivational speaker up and coming. So I would love to have you back on the show.
I would love to.
Okay, awesome. So I enjoyed speaking with you today about having a new outlook on life and about just, being willing to step outside of our comfort zone, notice that there's more than one right way of doing things, and then also finding ways to kind of placate the fears and take those steps anyway.
I thank you for having me. I appreciate
All
it.
right, thank you. And so, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Speak the Universe Listens, and our guest, Stephen Friend, with Words of Wisdom. So again, look him up on Facebook and on Instagram, and also he is an entrepreneur and the owner of of Friends Handyman Service. Until next time, this is Arvette.